Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Muchnik from Raz-Lee Security. Thank you for joining us for this week's webinar, Authority on Demand of IBM iShops. Each week through the end of the year, we will be presenting one or two webinars covering the major modules of our iSecurity solution. A few words about the company. Raz-Lee founded in 35 years ago. Its ongoing mission to provide security software for IBM I. Raz-Lee has more than 12,000 products licensed installed in over 40 countries around the world. We have also developed some unique solutions in the market like anti-ransomware, change tracker, and capture. Here is our global distribution network. As you can see, it's all over the world. We cover all of the world. And our business partner is like Imperva, SCA from States, iTech, McAfee, and all these companies. We have special partnership with Imperva based on OEM and technical partner like IBM, McAfee, and we fully support of SIM systems like RSA, Curadar, Splunk, and others in the list. Here the list of our selected customers all over the world, like Bank of China, Avis, and all these companies. Today we're going to talk about the one product, Authority on Demand. As you can see, this is our full portfolio of our category of our products. The category are auditing category, protection, ATP with antivirus, encryption, and database. Today we cover the protection category, Authority on Demand. What is the purpose of the product? Why we need Authority on Demand? We will show you some business examples, overview of the product, the main key features, and 4 methods to grant authority. And you will see the power of this product and the simplicity, how to simply implement in your company the high quality of authority in your production system, especially for production systems. First of all, we need the authority on demand because we must control user privilege, okay? And we must protect sensitive data from those who should not have access, especially for production, okay? But not only production, because we know that the production has a replica to DR machine or maybe develop machine. So we must think about protection also to other machines, not only production. And of course, we must secure the access to the system because of standards, regulations like GDPR, PCI, HIPAA, and SOX, and others. And also, we need full audit trail of access to the data. So it's most important for auditors. Let me show you a few examples of business, why we need this solution. For example, sometimes we need to control and monitor activities of non-corporate users, like auditors, constructors, and consultants, and like this one. Sometimes we need to provide very fast and emergency access to critical application. It can be in the nights, it can be in the weekends, and this solution required from the develop team, programmers and R&D. Okay. Also, we need to maintain documentation of each emergency access to the data. And in the usual days, without authority on demand, it's not possible to do because every access can be done emergency method or maybe because of a critical situation in your program, in your machine, and you looking for solution, and you give access to the user, and you forgot about disable this access after that. So our product give you solution to monitor activity of the users and to auto disable when the user finish his job, his task, and it will end his activity in your production systems. Let me show you the real product, how it's working in the reality. Okay, so as you can see, this is S400. By the way, this is our main screen of all our products. In last week, I covered audit, and today I cover the authority on demand. As you can see, we have short commands also, and you can use the product from this main screen. And we have the GUI client, so we can manage the product from the GUI, and we can get the logs and definitions from this view. So this is a really advantage to your auditors because they have no, maybe they have no knowledge in S400 platform, so they can manage the product from the GUI. So this is the main menu of the product, and let me show you now the definitions of one user without any authority. He has very limited authority. This is the user, low user. For example, if I'm looking inside this user, you can see that he has is simply user class, and he has no special authority. And if he trying to log in to the system, let me to log in. This is the user. Okay, I already log in with this user. Okay. Okay, and if I would want to create user profile, it's not possible to do because I don't have secadmin authority in my user. So what can I do? For example, I low user and I'm programmer, and I must access to production system, and it is very critical issue I have to access, and I don't have any authority. What can I do? So with the product, we create authority providers. For example, the authority providers usually should be the users with the high authority, like QSecoffer. So if we're looking inside the authority providers, you can find here QSecoffer. We can create it. You can create any user with the high security. Okay. And after that, we have rules. So I'm looking now on this specific rule with low user and as a requester, and the QSecoffer as a provider. So if I'm looking inside this rule, I will see very interested information in the rule. For example, first of all, I see the details about the requester, the low user, and the authority provider, QSecoffer. Okay, and then I can see one important thing, that this is pin code. So I can protect this rule, the activation of this rule, by pin code. And it's not must. I can ignore pin code. So it depends on you. And I can decide how many times I want to use this code, pin code, or this rule. Okay. Also, we have very powerful definitions of the method, how to grant authority from the requester to the provider. How we can, well, how we supposed to do it? How we're going to define it? So we have three options, maybe four options: add authority, swap profile, add special authority, and globally we can add special authority also globally. So for every session that will be connected during this session. And maximum work time, we can decide. Or next use after X minutes. And of course, we can decide which IP is going to use this rule and the time. When exactly is going to be? Is it going to be in the night hours or maybe in the working hours? So we can define in this part of the screen. And also we can configure the activity between and to from dates, and automatically send email to provider when this rule is starting to be active. So the rule is already defined, and now let's activate this rule. So I'm going to the lower user session, and I'm now, as you saw before, I tried to create this user, though it's not possible to create. And then I have to call next program, next command maybe, get AOD. Now I have to write here the provider name. So I'm typing the provider name and the pin code that only I know this pin code. The help desk gave me the pin code, or maybe this rule was created, enhanced before, and only I know this pin code. And I typing the pin code, and more of this, I must write the reason. So the reason can be case number, or it can be special reason that you just typing the reason directly. And you press enter. And from this moment, as you can see in the bottom of the screen, you can see the authority of provider QSECOFL is already added to low user. During this activity, mail was sent directly to my inbox or to a security department. So it's always under control. So you always know when your develop team access to your production, or maybe external support person access to your production. You always know. It's always under control. Okay, and now I'm trying to create the user that it was not possible to do before, as it's created. Okay, the profile is created. Let me go back to the presentation just to explain a few things from the presentation. So let's look into, we have two nice diagrams. So just look how it's working. A user needs a temporary high authority. He activates the get AOD command that including inside the provider definitions. Okay. And the rule is already created, and the rule defined with the time group, the period that it's possible to activate the rule, the IP address, and the PIN code. So if everything is correct, so you can go to the step number 3. But if there's some mistake or someone want to try this rule to try to access not authorized access to the system, so it will request not approved and the higher authority not granted. So it's not possible to get the access without knowledge about the PIN code, knowledge about the provider name, and maybe it can be limited to IP addresses to your VLAN, on your office, on your site. And from the step 3, a user received temporary high authority. Okay. And then after he finished his tasks, after a few hours, You can define the rule for the work for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and if you the time is passing and then you finish the job, then you can just log out from the user and it will automatically release AOD. But you can also type the command release AOD and it will end the authority on demand session immediately. And of course, auditor automatically receive reports, as I mentioned before. Another emergency workflow. It's real. It's working on an organization that they must and want to work in the order with the authorization, with the checklists, and this tool can assist them with this order, not only for auditors, it's also for daily work of our operators people and security people. For example, we defined, or you will define the emergency rules. It will take for some scenarios of in the real life. For example, if someone is going to the vacation for 1 month or maybe 2 months or less, then it is possible to give to his deputy with the authority on demand authority to take the privilege from his manager temporary for 1 month. It's possible to do with authority on demand. For example, so we define the providers first, like USEC offer, and then we can give the names to these rules, like production, like salary, like weekend profile. And of course, we have to decide what method we're going to use for this rule. So as I mentioned before, we have 3 or 4 methods, and I'm going to explain in next slide. And of course, the notification rules, including email, and you also can send it to syslog, to your SIM, and message queue, etc. 4 methods of elevating the authority. So as I mentioned before, we have 4 methods: add authority, swap profile, add special authority, and globally add special authority. Without these 4 methods, or without authority on demand, you will be able only to do swap profile in your system, in your IBM I. So you won't be able to do anything, only the swap profile. And it's very limited option to swap profile. I will mention in a few seconds. So let's look into the add authority. What is special in the add authority method? The original user profile does not change. Okay. In the swap profile, the session runs under the provider user profile. And the add special authority, the session runs under the provider special authority. It takes the special authority from the provider. And the globally, it's almost the same as add special authority, but it's for any new session of the requester. Okay. So in this table, you can see what is special in the recorded user. For example, when you decide to use add authority, then the recorded user will be regional. But in the swap in IBM method, the provider will be recorded. Okay. The cons of IBM SWAP technology, as I mentioned before, the session run under the provider user profile. The logs in the QOG journal will record the swap to user profile as the user. No way of knowing who actually performed the activity. And usually you will see only a QC offer. So it's very limited technology, and we recommend to use all 4 methods because it gives you flexibility to choose the correct method for your purpose. Okay, and also it's limited only for single session. Let's go back to the S400. So as you saw before, the user created, and if I want to know as a manager of the system who is connected now with the authority on demand, I just looking inside the option 32, and it give me the feedback that I'm using now my standard authority. Okay. And if I'm looking on the lower user screen and I typing here option 32, it will remind me that I'm the low user run with add authority of QC Control. Okay. And now as a manager, I want to see who working now with authority on demand. So option 15, you're able to see the user that connected to the system. So for example, so I can see Sion connected now, and I can see myself with this station, this terminal name, and I can see the type of the method, and I can see the provider, and I can get in, look inside the log, etc. Another very nice function that we have here, it's log history. So I can look into the log, and I typing in last 15 minutes. Maybe you could want to analyze previous years or previous dates. It's possible for this command. Just remember, this is the command. You can use this command to your menu. And now I can see myself here. And of course, I can look into the command line, can see in log, but additional option that I can get from this screen, I can get inside his visual screen. So I'm pressing just option number 5 here, and I can see I capture his screen. So I can see everything that user done visually, and I can get the recording on the email. So it's very powerful, and you can record any session that you want, only S400 52500 sessions. So you can record it. And more of this, you can get report with the log and entered commands. For example, if I am looking to the commands, this log, I can get real report. Let's look into the report if I can get it here. You see, I can get report of commands. I create user. So everything monitoring. You can easily get information about your programmers that work in your production, and it gives you full control of what's going inside your machine in your production environment. And you also can share this information with the auditors, but because they often asking you why the programmers, your programmer, access to your production system. What is the reason? What's the main reason? Please show me the evidence. Show me the reason. So you have everything in this product. Every access to production is monitoring and written inside the logs, and you can get on your email alerts and full information about their activity. Let me look into the additional view of the rule. So now we choose in this rule to work with add authority. Okay, let's change this rule to swap profile. And next screen, an important screen, because you must write on this screen the reference ID of this rule. The reason is that you must make any reference of your activity in the books or in your documentation, and this is the improvement about the reason that you create this rule. So it's most important to manage reference ID. You can freely put here number and description, and this is the proper way to do it. And now I'm going to the user, low priority user, authority user, and now I want to release AID. So I'm using this command, release AID. From this screen is 33, but you can add this command to your local menus. Press enter. Because it's oh, perfect. So now I released the rule, and now I want to get this rule again. To start this rule again, let me show you that I try now to create a new user. And you see, it's not possible to do because I'm now working with the low privilege user. Okay, and now I'm trying to get the ID once again. I type the PIN code, enter. And as you can see, now it's swapping. It's using the second method of authority. Okay. Okay, let's look into the email, what we have inside the email. You see, I got messages in email automatically, the authority of Christopher and Raz-Lee 3, the rule text, test of low user, reference ID, the to fix salary issue. Okay, you have full control. And now if I want to create user, it is possible to create user. And if I'm looking inside the work active job, okay, you can see the user, original user profile. Okay. Okay. Let me show you additionally how we can manage this tool from the GUI. So I hope that you can see the screen. Okay. So everything is the same. Authority rules. You see that everything that we done a few minutes ago, you can see the requester and the provider key coffer and the swap that we did in a few seconds. Okay. We can see the authority provider list. You can manage, you can define, you can change the email in this screen. We can see the jobs of who is connected now to authority on demand. And also we can see the logs, the same logs that you saw in the green screen, but for your auditing department, it will be easy to manage the tool from the GUI, not only Authority on Demand, all our other tools like audit, firewall, change tracker, encryption, AP journal, all products, we have full support from the GUI screen. You don't have any knowledge on S400. You can run reports. We have built-in reports in the tool. And also we have support to SIM systems. You can send information to your SIM. I think I covered this tool. It's very friendly, very easy to implement. And from my experience in many companies that I installed and implement this tool, the customers and the suppliers very happy, because sometimes when you're trying to convince the suppliers that they have to access with a new tool with new options, so they are always asking very difficult questions. So from my experience, very easy to convince them and to give them this tool, because first of all, they know that everything is recorded and they work with the higher responsibility. And I think it's make you real order in your company, especially work with the external suppliers and auditors, and even your develop. For example, one of the companies that we implement this tool, they switched all their programmers, was 25 programmers, to work only with the Authority on Demand, to access to your then production only with Authority on Demand. And in the beginning, it was not so simply to convince them and to to give them this solution. But after they try this tool and after they saw the benefits, today they're working with this tool. I think it's almost 3 years, and they're very happy to use this tool. So if you have questions, I will happy if you can write me a question here on the chat, or maybe send it to our email. Thank you to join us. It's my pleasure. Yeah, I got here a question: how to add this command to the user with the limited access. So the answer is that you have to build a special menu, and then to add in the menu on the initial program, and then you can use get AOD command. Yes. Okay. I think we cover all open questions. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you next week. Bye bye.